ResortLoop.com is proud to be sponsored by Joffrey's Coffee and Tea Company. Joffrey's now offers coffee subscriptions. You can order a 3, 6, or 12-month subscription. You can choose from 3 collections, the Flavored Coffee Collection, the Roastmasters Collection, or the Disney Signature Coffee Collection. Each collection includes 3 bags per month. With the Joffrey's Coffee subscriptions, never run out of great coffee again. Learn more and order at Joffreys.com.
Good morning, this is Jeremy.
Sophia. Cheney. Heather.
And we are at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Just walked in, 8:15 in the morning, at the first day of annual pass previews for this park since they reopened. And the music is playing, and we're standing right in front of the Tree of Life. And it's good to be back. It's beautiful. Start the show, Tim.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
We are now passing through the Transportation and Ticket Center on our way to the Polynesian Village Resort Hotel. If you'd like to return to the Transportation and Ticket Center, you may do so by boarding an express monorail at the Magic Kingdom station.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. I'm Tim Scott. This is ResortLoop.com, the gateway to the magic. Very excited for the show today, but before I get on with the show, I want to thank Jeremy Hunt for that open for the show. Very exciting, always good hearing from Jeremy. If you have an open that you'd like to send for the show, send that to Tim at ResortLoop.com, or you can call us on the Looper phone line. That's area code 414-WDW-LOOP. So joining me on the show today, we have a recently former college program superstar whose father's a major listener of the show. Joining us on the show right now is Audrey Maxwell. Hi, Audrey.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very excited to have you on the show. We have lots of interesting things I think you're going to tell us about.
Yes, I'm very excited.
Now, found out about you possibly being on the show from your dad, Chris. Is your dad a Disney fan?
Yes, very big.
If he's a big Disney fan, is that your Disney story? Why are you such a Disney fan, and how'd you decide to reach out for the college program?
Yeah, we've been going on family vacations for my whole life to Disney World. And I applied to the Disney College program my sophomore year and did it the second semester of my sophomore year. I just always thought it'd be so fun to work in Disney World, and it definitely was.
Wow, that's amazing. So Audrey, before we get into this, what's your earliest Disney memory of going to the parks?
Probably my earliest memory was when I was around 4. I remember some stuff whenever I was 4, meeting the princesses. I remember very vividly our trip whenever I was 7. Mm-hmm. And we went as a family reunion. That's probably my first time I remember a lot of our vacation, and I've just loved it my whole life.
What is your family's protocol for staying at the resorts? Do you have a certain resort you stay at? Do you mix it up? Where do you normally stay?
We mix it up quite a bit. We've stayed quite a few places. We like to try different ones.
What's your favorite?
I loved staying at Wilderness Lodge at Christmas time.
Ooh.
But I also love the boardwalk.
Okay. Fantastic. All right. So you're a big Disney fan. You love the resorts. You decide, you wake up one day. I want to be in the college program. How did you go about it?
So I actually didn't apply at the very beginning of the season. Applications were already open. So my best friend for my whole life, she applied the day the applications opened, and I was still kind of not entirely sure that I was going to do it yet. And then I actually decided okay, I'm going to do this. And then she got in that day, which was pretty special. I actually applied September 13th, and applications had opened mid-August. So after you apply, you fill out an application online and send it in. And then they offer you a web-based interview, which is just kind of a bunch of questions. It's not talking to anyone yet. It's just all online still.
Oh, okay.
So I actually got that offered to me the next day after I applied, which was awesome. And then after you pass that, you set up a phone interview to talk with a recruiter, and I took that about 10 days later.
Okay. And then how long after you take your interview there are you notified that, hey, we're letting you in?
It just depends. Like, some people wait like all season before hearing that they're in, but I was very lucky and I heard the next week.
Oh, wow.
So exactly 1 week after my interview. Yep.
Okay, so you're here 1 week, you're going down. How much notice do you have before you have to move down there?
I found out October 1st, and then I moved January 13th. So a few months. And then whenever you're accepted, you also get to pick what day you arrive and when you want to leave. So like they have like 4 options or so of arrival dates and departure dates that you can choose from. So I chose the earliest one at January 13th.
Now, when they hire you in there, when do you know what your assignment's going to be, where you're going to work? Do you get to pick anything, or give them maybe a general direction?
So whenever you turn in your application, it lists every role that they offer to college program participants, and you rank each one as like very interested, moderate interest, low interest, or no interest at all. And then they can give you any job you want. It doesn't have to be, a high interest job, but any job that you show any interest in, they can give you a job in that role. So the day that you get accepted, you find out, like, for example, I was quick service food and beverage. They tell me that much, but then I didn't know until January, actually, what my location would be.
Okay, what was your location?
I was at Pecos Bills.
Oh, okay. There's a lot of hustle and bustle in there.
Yes.
Wow.
It was really fun.
Was it fun, though?
Yes, I loved it.
You have any kind of dining secrets in there? Anything like we should eat, we shouldn't eat, we should look for?
Not really. Nothing that you shouldn't eat.
Okay.
But everything is very good there, in my opinion. That was one of my favorite quick service restaurants anyways, going into my program. But it is kind of fun. During training, there's a day that they let you try everything. So.
Oh, wow. Do they have any kind of secret menu there? Can you order something that's maybe not on the menu?
No. Not that I know of.
All right. I just wonder if there were some weird concoctions there. What was your favorite thing to get there? Is it still your favorite after working there?
Before I worked there, I used to get the jerk chicken lettuce wraps. And then after working there, my go-to are chicken nachos.
Ooh, that's a good call.
Yes.
So did you work anywhere else there, food-wise, or is it mainly just Pecos Bills?
Just Pecos Bills, yeah.
So Disney also provides your housing there, don't they? How's that work?
Yeah, so whenever you choose to live in Disney housing, they have 4 different apartment complexes that are like just college participants living there. So you pay rent every week. They provide, you don't have to worry about getting an apartment once you get there. They have that. And then each of the 4 apartment complexes are like pretty close to each other. So you can meet other people on the program, and then you can have like anywhere from like 3 to 6 roommates whenever you go through Disney housing. How
was it living there? Was it more college dorm like? Is it more relaxed? Is it very busy? What's the mood there?
I would say it's like kind of college dorm like. They have like welcome events and there's different events throughout our program where like everyone would come out and they'd have like music and food and stuff. So there was definitely like lots of opportunities to meet like other people that lived around you. So that was nice.
Now, how's is there like any kind of dining involved there, or do you just cook your own meals? How's that work?
Yeah, you just cook your own meals. There's no dining involved.
The other college program, at least that you were exposed to, the other, I don't know if I want to call them kids necessarily, but young adults, were they all like super Disney fans as well, or were they just doing it for something to do? What was how were they?
Yeah, so I would say the majority are like Disney fans, have gone to Disney World their whole lives, or like just really love the parks. But then there are some that like they've never been to Disney World before, and they really just like wake up one day and think like, oh, that would be fun, which was like really interesting to me. I I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but like on my traditions day, whenever we go into Magic Kingdom, like there were people that was their first time seeing the castle. Which is like crazy.
That is crazy. And I was going to ask, I've always heard about this traditions program. What's it like now when you take it?
So traditions is a class that you take, and that's whenever you officially become a cast member. So you get up early in the morning and get dressed up in business clothes and go to Disney University. And there you just like sit through a class where they teach you about Disney and its history. And they talk about Walt and Roy and just like show some videos from around the parks, and like it's basically why we do what we do. And then during the class we get to go over to the Magic Kingdom, but go through the utilidors. So that's everyone's first time seeing the utilidors, like the tunnels under Magic Kingdom. And then come up and we're on Main Street and see the castle. And then we just kind of walk around and kind of like take in the park from like a different point of view of like, where do we see the 4 keys that they teach us about: safety, courtesy, show, and efficiency, where we see those like taking place with other cast members. And then at the end of traditions is whenever Mickey brings you your name tag. So that's when you get your official Walt Disney World name tag.
So Mickey hands you your name tag?
He doesn't hand it to you personally, but he brings them all into your classroom and, says congratulations.
I gotta say, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Now, the people that weren't really Disney fans, were they all in at that point, do you think? Or
Yeah, I feel like that. I mean, like everyone still seemed excited to be there, but I definitely think that's their first experience with Mickey, so that's pretty cool.
That is very cool. Where's this Disney University at? I think I know, but I just want to... It could have moved, I guess.
It is behind Magic Kingdom.
Oh, it's not where I thought it was at all. I thought it was over near Disney Springs. That's exciting.
Yes. Near Disney Springs is the casting building, so that's like we had to go there to like get our picture taken for our ID and just kind of go through like some paperwork there.
Now, was this your first time seeing the utilidors? Were you ever on a tour where you saw them before?
This was my first time.
What'd you think?
It was so cool. It was a lot to take in during traditions, but then like walking them every day since I worked in Magic Kingdom was really cool.
Now, I've always heard that Disney cast members are able to, like, if they see something going on, maybe try to interject some magic and try to help somebody out. Do you ever have any instances like that?
Like while I was working, you mean?
Yeah. Or even while you're not working.
So while I was working, I actually worked back of house at Pecos, so I didn't really see a whole lot of guests. So there wasn't a lot of magic I could make that was like directly face to face. Right. But it would be fun, if there was like a kid's meal or something on the tray to like throw in an extra thing of churros and, have a magical day or just anything like that to kind of spread some magic was always really fun. Oh,
that's awesome. What's one thing you learned from being a college program member that you wouldn't have learned otherwise?
I would say going through traditions and like going through the utilidors and just kind of like more of the backstage stuff was really cool to experience. It's kind of cool, like whenever I would be in a park like as a guest, like during my program or now, not necessarily like something that I wouldn't know regularly, but like you just notice different things that are going on. And like one thing I would say is like the different name tags. I don't know if you know what a legacy name tag is, but that's a cast member like with a blue name tag. I never knew what that meant before I worked there. So that's a cast member that like really shows like what Disney stands for and like go above and beyond. So that's always fun to like recognize them whenever I see that now.
Oh, that's fantastic. I know on the name tags, they always put their hometown under their name. Yes. Do they do that for the college program kids as well?
So whenever we like get our name tags, it has our college that we're from.
Okay.
But you can like order another one that has your hometown if you want.
Oh, wow. That's very cool. Yeah. Who knew? Well, you knew.
Right. Yeah, it's cool.
Audrey, so you're going to school. You've done the college program. We're not even going to talk about the college program ending just yet, but I want to know, Well, has this inspired you maybe? Do you think maybe you'd like to work, with Disney in the future if possible?
Yes, for sure. I actually, after this program, have decided to go into hospitality at the University of Central Florida. So I would say this very much impacted my education goals.
Oh, that's awesome. So Audrey, what's your dream job at Disney? Realizing that might not be your first job there, but what would be your ideal career job there?
I think right now my dream job would be to be a leader somewhere in Magic Kingdom.
Wow. Exactly what do the leaders do? Educate us.
So the leaders are like the people that you see walking around in business clothes. So they're normally like overseeing just kind of what's going on everywhere. But it's kind of cool that they also get to work doing like what I was doing sometimes also.
Okay. How many does like each land have their own leader, or how's that work?
It just kind of depends. Like, for example, at Pecos, like we had like West Side food leaders. So they would be over like Pecos, Aloha Isle, any of the stands in Adventureland or Frontierland. Yeah, so it's just kind of per section, I guess.
All right, so Audrey, we're in the college program. We're having a good time. You're having a great time. You're learning lots of stuff. You're sharing the magic. You're getting people their tacos, which
yes.
I really like there, by the way. And then something happens. What happened to end your college program early? I'm sure we all see this coming.
Right. COVID-19 happened.
Oh, it was so poorly coordinated. It could have been better for everybody.
Right.
Timing was just horrible.
Yeah.
So how are you notified that, this is going on and it's, what do you need to do?
Yeah, I can just kind of walk you through starting like March 12th. That is when like the announcement was made that the parks were going to be closing for 2 weeks. So we got this like notification that said, we're going to be closing the parks, but like you guys will be paid for 2 weeks. And so at first it was like, awesome. Like we have 2 weeks off. We're still getting paid. At that point, it was just like, oh man, we're not going to be able to go to the parks.
Right.
So then like March 13th, the next day, I worked. And then that night, our leaders talked to us after our shift. And they said, like, there's a rumor going around. You guys are going to be sent home. That's not true. Like, we don't know where that started. You guys are definitely still going to be here. So we're like, okay. And like most of us were like, oh, we hadn't even heard that.
Right.
So
I didn't even know that was on the table.
Yeah. So then the next day, March 14th, my best friend who I was saying did the program, she actually worked before me that day, and she called me. It was like 1:00 in the afternoon, and she was very upset. And she was like, yeah, we're being sent home. Like my leaders just told me.
Oh.
So then I was like getting ready to go into work. I was like at the costuming building getting ready to go in. So whenever I got to work, like no one seemed any different. Like no one was upset. So it was kind of like hard to put on a fake face acting like I didn't know this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was probably there like 20 minutes and our leaders called us into their office and they were like, okay, guys. And it was really emotional for them to like tell us that we were being sent home. And they said, well, you have about 4 days to get out of your apartments.
We love you, but get out.
Yeah. Yeah. Like all of them were really upset. All of us were really upset.
Yeah.
And then they pretty much said, like, you guys don't have to work anymore. And so we went like and changed and then came back into Magic Kingdom. So it was like a really unique experience, kind of being at the park the last couple days it was open, because it was like everybody was really sad.
Mm-hmm.
There were just like CPs everywhere that were like crying.
Oh.
But it was so magical at the same time. Like all the cast members that weren't CPs were going like so out of their way to make us feel loved and like appreciated. And they had like a special meet and greet to see Mickey, and it was really neat how like everyone handled it.
It sounds like that'd be a real bonding experience with everybody.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was like, especially by the last day, like there were guests there, but it was mainly just like college kids everywhere, which was neat. So yeah, then March 15th was the last day that the parks were open. And like they had a lot of different things that day specific for CPs. Like Pecos had like tacos and nachos that like any CP could come and get. Be Our Guest had an area like backstage. Like all of these were backstage. But like they had food out, and yeah, it was like the special Mickey meet and greet. And then there were a couple other food locations that did that also. And then during our whole program, college participants weren't allowed, well, and all cast members weren't allowed in studios because the crowd levels were so high, and they dropped that day. So like CPs could go and ride Rise, and they just let a lot of things happen for us, which was really neat.
Oh,
yeah. And then one of like the best parts of my program, which is ironic because it was like the last hour that the parks were open. But Josh Romero was there, like telling everyone bye. And he came down and like talked to the CPs that were around, and we got to meet him and get pictures with him. And it was just a really cool moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yep. So then, yeah, that was March 15th. And then the next couple of days we're just like packing, and we drove around property some, which was kind of neat since it's so empty. And then the 18th, my dad actually drove up like the 17th. And then the 18th, we left and drove back up to Illinois.
One thing I wanted to mention before we got to the COVID thing, when you have downtime there, what would you do? Would you just go to the parks? I know I'm going kind of a little bit backwards here, but.
For sure. Pretty much any downtime, we were going to the parks. Like it was fun to just go to the parks by yourself, go to the parks with any of your roommates and like anyone. We were always going to the parks, and like you didn't work till like 1 that day, you know, you could go to the park in the morning, or like if you get off early, go to the parks after. It was pretty much, there was like 1 day of my program that I wasn't like working or in a park.
Wow. Was there did you have a favorite park when you were there as during the college program that maybe wasn't your favorite park when you were just visiting?
So I know, well, I don't know if you know, but cast members were blocked out of studios like during this time because crowds were so high. Mm-hmm. But I have an annual pass, so I could still get into studios.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
The golden ticket.
I really liked going to studios. I think before my program, Magic Kingdom was my favorite park, and then Studios has definitely like become a tie. It's hard because Magic Kingdom like has more meaning to me now that I've worked there, but I love going to Studios as a guest.
Oh, that's awesome. So before we wrap it up here, the big question, actually there's 2 big questions. 1, would you do the college program again? And 2, would you recommend the college program for somebody else?
Yes and yes.
Yes for
absolutely. Both? Yeah. I would definitely recommend it to someone else. Even if you're kind of considering it, I would say go for it. Yeah, it's so worth it. It's just such a neat experience that you wouldn't get through anything else. And even if you're working somewhere like you don't know if you'll like I've heard so many people that weren't in locations they were super excited about at first and like ended up loving it. And you make great friends, and you're living in Florida and can go to the parks whenever you want for free. So lots of pros, but it's a really great experience. And then would I do the program again? Yes. With me like moving to Florida, I'm hoping to work part-time, so it wouldn't like actually make sense for me to do a program again, but yes, if I was not moving to Florida, I absolutely would.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, would you have anybody that's out there thinking of doing it? Is there any piece of advice you could give them in their journey?
I would say whenever you're applying, just really make sure that like your love of Disney and magic just like really shows through, and don't be afraid to like just really be yourself during your interview. And also, I would say just for whenever you're marking interest in your roles, only choose roles that you would want to do, but also maybe get a little bit out of your comfort zone to learn something new.
Audrey, thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Now, we're going to talk about a trip you recently took. Do you mind if we record another show in the future and we'll put that out?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Awesome. Audrey, thanks for joining us on the show. If anybody has any questions for you, is there a place you'd like them to reach out for you?
Of course. on my Instagram, you can reach out to me. It's @_Audrey Maxwell. And then you could also email me if you want. It's audreym27@gmail.com.
Nice. That'd be good for any other kids out there who might have questions you could probably answer for them.
Yes, of course.
Awesome. I'm Tim Scott. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, the website, ResortLoop.com. Everybody, please go out there and share the gateway to the magic. Audrey, do you know how we wrap up a show?
See you, everybody.
Oh, that was awesome. You did a good job.
Thank you.
Vacation memories will stay with you and your family for a lifetime. The Resort Loop Travel Group was created with this in mind. Our fee-free services will relieve you of the stress and confusion of finding and booking the best vacation at the best price. After booking, we will continue to monitor for ways to save you even more on your vacation. We will check for any upcoming packages and discounts to save you as many vacation dollars as possible. Resort Loop Travel Group, gateway to your magical vacation memories. Get a quote, or for more information, visit ResortLoop.com.